is that it's kind of like there's happening this spiritual one-uppingness in the non-duality talks, where it's like, no, I'm more knowledgeable about non-duality than you are, and that is, it's really, really bizarre. It reminds me of the joke with the monk sitting and meditating about the ego, about there's no individual self, sitting and meditating about that, and then he goes like, "Oh, I'm so enlightened." I mean, it's so funny because you are not anything. Enlightenment might happen. Enlightenment is happening. Awareness is happening. It's not you. You are not anything because there is no you. So there's no individual you to be anything. And that also puts you in a position when you realize this, that anybody else can have whatever opinion about you, and it's completely fine. Other people can think you're ridiculous and don't like you, and you can set them free to think that you are ridiculous and don't like you. You don't have the need to change that because there's no individual you. There's only that not individual self not liking this individual self. When I say you, I don't mean a you that you can identify with. There is experiences happening, there's nothing to identify with because there's no you to identify. If you start to identify with it, then you go into the ego, and that identifying is dualistic. So it can either be identified as where you're contracting, where you want things to be different, or where you're expanding, where you allow what is. I have made multiple videos where I talk about the ego versus the authentic, and that is in what we are experiencing chemically and neurochemically when we are in the biological being. Our psychology is kind of split into two, and the more you work with the non-identifying, the more you are in the authentic, and the more you are actually able to understand without having the feeling of losing anything, the more you're actually able to release the identifying and just being with what is. That's where the unconditional acceptance come in, and the unconditional loving kindness come in, and compassion, where whatever arises in this experience is completely fine. You have no need for it to go away because you don't identify with it.